Hello and welcome to episode 32 of the Just Flying series. We're having an Explain 12 episode of Just Flying today, so I did a quick edit of the two airports to put them in the sim, although it was a very rough upgrade, including stuff like this grass on the runway which looks a bit too thick and long. I will do that properly with my actual upgrade when I get round to it, but it will have to do for now. Seeing quite a bit of shimmering on the grass too, but not really worried about that just yet. With stuff like that shimmering, this is still a beta testing product. I'm on beta 6 at the moment, and I've no idea what Lamina have planned, so there is every chance things like that might be on their list of things to fix anyway. So I'll try not to moan about too much in any of the Explain 12 videos until Explain 12 goes to a final release, and then I'll be able to pass judgment on it. Although even then it probably will take a short while after that to turn it into a great simulator. With Explain 11 it was third party people who made tweaks, additions and all sorts of things, and that added a lot to the sim and certainly improved out of the box default Explain 11. And I see no reason to think that Explain 12 is going to be any different in that respect. It's things like with 11, with the lights on the ground at night, for instance, which disappeared at a certain distance, and so the lights popped up as you were flying along, and that was never a great experience. Then someone came up with the extended lights thing, and that was much better. It's the same kind of way I've noticed the trees in Explain 12. They only fully render and have shadows at a fairly short distance around your viewing position. So that looks great close up for screenshots, but the popping into existence shadows is not great when you're flying along. So hopefully there are cleverer people than me who can start to work out what you can do with the sim and improve those kind of things. So I'm sure that will happen, it just might take a bit of time. I'd guarantee Lamina could improve those kind of things themselves, but it seems to be that one of the points they like to highlight is the performance of their flight simulator. They just neglect to tell you that some of that performance is occasionally down to simply not drawing stuff on screen until you're very close to it. Going back to the extended lights in Explain 11, with the added stuff for that and the data attached to it, I'm sure that it does cost 1 or 2 frames per second, but in my opinion that trade is well worth it for what you get to see out of the window. So I suppose it's just a different point of view, where Lamina, in my opinion, try to save a few too many frames per second, and I'm glad there are people who think like me, such as the extended lights guy, who are happy to lose some frames per second but make things look better and a bit more realistic. So yeah, I'm sure the full release of Explain 12 will be lovely, but 6-12 months later I'm certain a number of third party people will have worked out what they can do with the new software and will have made Explain a lot better, so I'm looking forward to that. As for me and flying, Well, I had a couple of weeks of basically not doing anything with Explain, but I have started to pay attention again now, now that we've got past the first few beta releases. Although, to be honest, with lots of scenery I want to tweak and convert to Explain 12, my own sim is a bit of a mess at the moment. This is definitely the simulator of a scenery maker and not just a scenery user right now. And part of that, you may notice during this flight, I actually have two sets of roads on top of each other at the moment. Yeah, when we get the new SimHeaven overlay for New Zealand, I'll start sorting things out properly and probably start using Explain 12 a bit more. And I say that because I've had a few flights just for the fun of it, and I've still been using Explain 11 for that, and I'll probably carry on using 11 for a little while too. But yeah, all of my stuff will get done and converted and sorted for 12 eventually. As for today, I'm using Explain 12 largely because this is the first time I've copied over some aircraft to see what they are like. So this is the very first test of this Nimbus Islander, and I'm pleased to see that things appear to be working just fine. Which is nice, as I do quite like this plane, especially after what I've done to it. Yeah, there is the Dazzler style livery obviously, but quite a while ago I did have a bit of a play with this in Plane Maker. Now, I got this Islander for bush type flying, South Fiordland, that kind of thing, but I quickly found out that it was actually a bit too good at things like that for my liking. You can land at very low speeds in very short distances, which took a little bit of the fun out of things in South Fiordland and the small bush airstrips out there. So in Plane Maker I did manage to increase the nose wheel steering, though it will turn in a very small area now, which is good for some of those little strips. But I also had a play with the wings. Now, visually nothing has changed, but as far as X-Plane is concerned for its lift and drag calculations, the wings are a bit shorter on my version now. At cruise speeds that makes no noticeable difference, but on approach you now need higher speeds to not stall it, and the general low speed handling of the aircraft is not good at all. Which is actually brilliant, because that's just what I wanted. It's now harder to fly around South Fiordland and has brought back the level of panic that you sometimes get there, so I'm happy with it. Now, obviously my edit isn't realistic compared to a genuine Islander, but just look at the livery and tell me how much you think I get obsessed with realism compared to having fun. So, flight plan, and we've left NZTM and we're going to NZTT at Kuiti. I've done a quick and dirty edit of the scenery for that, just to get it to appear without any issues. But a few buildings have disappeared on the airfield. That's because I'm trying to use a lot less libraries for my Explain 12 stuff, so I will replace those buildings in the proper upgrade, but they're missing for now. And I also did a simple batch convert of all the vegetation in the scenery to new Explain 12 trees, although I've not checked to see what all that looks like. So it's probably not going to be great, but I think the whole airfield is due not just an Explain 12 upgrade, but a full upgrade. It's one of the first ones I ever did, actually, and for its age it's still not too bad really, but yeah, a full upgrade is on the list of things to do one day. as it seems a nice place, and I'm sure I could make a nice job of it now. I did drive past it in 2011 during my visit, but at the time I wasn't involved with flight sim scenery making or airport spotting, so I didn't actually notice it at the time. Although that day is memorable for slightly weird reasons. The day before, I left Auckland on the intercity bus, which first went to Hamilton, where we had a 20-minute kind of break. I assume that's because the rules only allow bus drivers to drive for a certain amount of time before they stop somewhere for a short rest. And very nice for me as a passenger too, as I can get off, stretch my legs, get a cup of coffee. So then we all get back on the bus and went down to the town of Otahunga, where I got off and spent the night there. And Otahunga is just north of the airfield we're going to today, by the way. So the next day I'm booked on that same bus route again, where I'll get on at Otahunga and it would take me down to New Plymouth. So I checked out of the place where I was staying, and then in the town, just opposite where the bus stop was, there's a big cafe type of thing. So had a nice breakfast in there, a few cups of coffee, and was all lovely and refreshed for the next leg of my journey as the bus finally pulled in and I got on it. So we left Otahunga, drove for all of 5 minutes, and then pulled into a roadside cafe restaurant kind of place, which was the next 20-minute scheduled break spot for the driver. I did look it up, and I know for the driver and all the passengers their last break was back in Hamilton, so it kind of makes sense for them. But the first leg of my journey that day, that was about 7 kilometres. I did try and have a bit of a joke with the driver about that. But when it comes to driving a bus, this guy was good at it. If you had a bus and you wanted it to drive from one place to another place, this was just the kind of person you would want for that task. When it came to having a sense of humour, he wasn't quite so skilled in that area. But it amused me anyway, and I wasn't going to pass up on the excuse to get another cup of coffee, so it was all good in the end. We're not going to get far enough north to see Otahunga or that roadside cafe place today, but I'll try and remember to point them out in the next Just Flying episode. I also remember once upon a time thinking about putting that roadside cafe into X-Plane, because it wasn't just a building, they also had a massive red apple in the car park. Yeah, that was back before I knew how to make my own objects, so I gave up on the idea. These days I probably could make a landmark like that now. Yeah, it's not going to be very high on my list of priorities, but yeah, one day, you never know. Anyway, here's our airfield, and X-Plane is telling me that the wind is calm, so it's not going to matter which way we come in, so I think we'll just circle around to lose a bit of altitude, and that should be fine. You can see the kind of old style way that he used to do things with trees here, just some vegetation in roughly the right kind of place. Having ortho scenery, you actually get to see all the shadows and markings where trees are actually growing in real life. So these days I do try and put some kind of vegetation and tree on, well, all or certainly most of those markings, especially like now when you're low enough and close enough to notice that they're missing. So that's certainly the kind of thing that a full upgrade of this airfield would could certainly make that look a lot better. And also the airport itself as well. There you can see quite clearly there's my two sets of overlay roads at the moment. My guess is that I'm using the SimHeaven X-Plane 11 overlay, so that may well be one road, but that doesn't exclude X-Plane 12 default roads for some reason, so that might be the second road. I don't know. Not really looked at it yet. Alright, let's see what we can do. Try and get back somewhere near a centre line would be a good start. Not too bad. Can we stop before the taxiway? Juddering a bit with the brakes. Okay, the stopping part was a bit aggressive, but I think the landing part went up quite nicely. Felt fairly smooth. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. Happy enough with that one. So, welcome to NZTT Takuiti Airfield. Purple box over there. Little place marker for some missing scenery. There used to be an aircraft there. As I'm converting things, that will be happening quite a bit as I'm using less libraries, but well, I've already done it here with a few things of delete those missing things out of the scenery, and then I'll replace them or change them or do whatever I need to. But, yeah, obviously missed that one. It was only a quick edit when I didn't really check anything anyway. There we go, we'll park up here, and that will do. So, that was episode 32 of Just Flying. And hopefully I'll be back with episode 33 in the not too distant future. So, until next time then, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.